Hey Billy, turn off the office light switch.
Turned off the switch.
Hey Billy, turn on the office light switch.
Turned on the switch.
I don't usually use a voice assistant day to day, and when I do they always feel a bit dull and lifeless. So I thought, how can I give this a bit more character and a bit more fun? Enter Billy Bass, the singing fish, or soon to be super intelligent fish. This project also ties in with Home Assistant's recent Summer of AI release, which introduced things like AI tasks and better real-time speech, pairing that with OpenAI in the back end, and suddenly we can build assistants that aren't just functional, but actually interactive. For Billy, I'm also adding a custom wake word, so instead of Hey Google or Alexa, I'll just call out to him directly with Hey Billy. To make it all work, we'll put the hardware together, an amplifier, mic and motor driver. Then we'll print a new custom backplate to hold everything inside the fish. And finally flash our ESP32S3 with ESPHome and custom code. So the plan, take this classic toy, give it a proper wake word, tie it into OpenAI and Home Assistant, and let it respond in a way that's a little more alive. Over the next few minutes, I'll show you how I got there. Before we dive deeper, let's take a quick look at the key parts that make this project work and why each one is important. First up, we have the Max 98357 amplifier board. The ESP32 can send out digital audio, but it doesn't have the power to actually drive a speaker. This takes a digital I2S audio stream from the ESP32, converts it to an analog sound, and then amplifies it up to about 3 watts, which is going to be perfect for the speaker which we're going to use within the Billy Bass itself. Next, we have the INMP441 I2S microphone. This is how the ESP32 listens. Instead of analog wiring, this mic sends digital data over I2S, just like an amplifier does in reverse. That means that we get a super clean audio input, which is important if you want Billy to react to our voice commands and sync with the audio. Now for the muscles of the project, the L298N dual H-bridge motor driver. The ESP32 can't power the motors directly, so the L298N acts like an electronic switchboard. It takes low power signals from the ESP32, which we'll program later, and turns them into higher current outputs that can spin DC motors forward or backward. In our case, it controls the motors that open Billy's mouth, its head and its tail. And at the heart of all this is the ESP32S3, which is going to be the brains of all of this. It's handling the digital audio in, digital audio out, and the decision making for the motors. The S3 version is nice as well because it's got extra processing power and built-in support for machine learning features, which is going to be very handy later on when we get to using voice commands within ESPHome. And finally, a simple double-sided PCB board to tie everything together. So to recap, the amplifier makes the sound, the mic picks up the sound, the motor drives the parts, and the ESP32S3 runs the whole show, and the PCB board just keeps it all together. And now a quick look at how everything wires up. The head motor in the Billy Bass connects to the L298N at out 2 and out 3, and the tail motor goes to out 3 and out 4. The power is shared, the 12 volts goes into the ESP32 5 volt line, and ground to ground. From the ESP32 control pins, GPIO 16 goes to in 1, GPIO 17 goes to in 2, GPIO 4 goes to in 3, and GPIO 5 goes to in 4. The speaker hooks into the Max 98357 on speaker plus and speaker minus, and that amp connects back to the ESP32 with the I2S. GPIO 12 for LRC, GPIO 13 for BCLK, and GPIO 11 for DIN. The INMP441 mic also uses I2S, and on pins GPIO 9 for LRC, GPIO 10 for BCLK, GPIO 8 for D out, and we tie the mic's left-right pin to ground so it always uses the left channel. With all that in place, every part fits nicely and neatly into the Billy Bass. Okay. So, typical big mouth Billy Bass. Works as is. At the moment, I don't have any battery in it, but it is on. Oh, there we go. It works off the sensor.
At first I was afraid.
And it turns on already.
Petrified.
Let's turn him off for a minute. And then what we're going to do is we're going to unscrew the back of this. So let's get a start with doing that. There we go. So this is basically what the inside of the Billy Bass looks like. Just move some of this over to the inside. So what we have here is, this is obviously our speaker. I think this is our switch, just determines whether it's on via the button or via the sensor on it as well. This is the battery housing, the button for that, and the most important two things that we are concerned with though is we're concerned with these wires that are coming from this motor, and I think this is the tail motor if I'm right, and then there's another motor underneath here as well for the head, yeah, for the mouth I should say as well. So that's what we'll be looking at. So what we want to do basically is we can nearly snip away at all these wires and we can take this housing out as well. Take you out, and that's it. That's all it looks like. Just a little simple PCB board. So yeah, we can leave that to one side. And we can clean some of these wires up, I think, as well. So, but that's the crux of it, really. Like, we don't need these wires anymore; they're gone. All we really care about is these wires here for our motor, so we can actually control the fish. So, what we'll do next is, now that the fish is gutted, what we're going to do is we're going to use these motors, as I say. But we're also going to reuse the speaker rather than getting a new speaker. So we can keep these two wires. Basically, we can get rid of everything else because this is going to be powered by an ESP32, 5-volt ESP32. So we don't really need this battery housing or anything like that. So we're also going to create a new base as well, I think, which will be the best thing to do for this. So I think what we can do now is we can move on to putting everything together. Now, to fit all the electronics neatly inside the Billy Bass, I designed a custom 3D printed backplate to replace the original one. And I have to say a big shout out to Tom Coppin, who generously shared his original STL files for the backplate. Tom mapped and designed the model from scratch, and I was able to adapt it to the ESP32 version. He's also built an amazing Raspberry Pi powered Billy Bass assistant, which you can check out that project on GitHub in the link in the description. And his full 3D backplate design is up on OpenWakeWord as well, which you'll also find a link for too. Once the design was ready, I sent it to my Bamboo P1S printer, and here it is printing the modified part. And here's a time lapse of the full print coming together. Now, with that, here is a sample of the backplate which we have printed on my new Bamboo P1S printer, because my Creality Ender 5 Pro gave out on me. So this is what it looks like. So it's just simple. So we just printed a hole for the speaker, just a plate for the L298N, and then another one just for the PCB board that's going to sit in it. So now I'll show you one which I made earlier, which is this. So here we go. So the ESP32 will sit in this. Here is our Max 98 our L2 and 98N, and of course our speaker as well. Oops, that's sitting there. And of course, this should fit on our fish just nicely once it's actually all plugged in there and ready to go. So that should sit on the back nicely enough once it's in there. So now, without further ado, let's get to wiring all this up. Okay, let's go. Here I'm flashing the ESP32S3 with ESPHome and my custom Billy Bass code. All of the code is available in my GitHub repo, Billy AI. It's an ESPHome external component that taps into the I2S audio stream, measures the loudness in real time, and publishes it as a percentage level. You'll find the link to this GitHub repo in the description. Now, here's the YAML that ties everything together. The voice assistant block manages audio in and out, the mic is on I2S, the speaker is the I2S amplifier, and the WakeWord control is wired in. I'm running conservative settings, noise suppression level set to 0, auto gain to 1, and the volume multiplier so replies are easy to hear without clipping. The speaker tap sits in the audio path, while the Max 98357 plays sound. The tap measures loudness and publishes the 0 to 100% level we use for mouth motion. Motor outputs in H-bridge definitions drive the mouth, head and tail. The scripts convert the level into short forward and reverse pulses so the jaw opens on peaks and closes cleanly when it dies down. On the assistant side, I'm using Whisper for speech to text, Piper for text to speech, and a custom WakeWord, Hey Billy, with openWakeWord. That lets me keep the whole loop responsive and local for the audio pieces. For the conversation, I call an OpenAI agent with a short system prompt that keeps replies concise and in character as Billy. It's focused on helpful answers and short follow-ups so the speech stays snappy. I'm not going to cover custom WakeWord creation in this video, but if you want a walkthrough for training your own WakeWord with openWakeWord, drop me a comment and let me know. The speaker tap component works by sitting directly inside the I2S audio pipeline. Every block of audio samples that the ESP32 sends to the amplifier is also duplicated and passed through the tap. These samples are PCM data, sequences of numbers that represent the sound wave at each point in time. The first step is to calculate the RMS energy, or root mean square, which gives us a reliable measure of the signal's loudness instead of just its peaks. Next comes attack and release smoothing. Attack sets how quickly the level rises when a sound starts, while release sets how slowly it falls away once its sound ends. Together, these prevent the mouth from flickering open and shut too rapidly on every tiny fluctuation. After smoothing, the result is scaled with the configurable gain control, which lets us adjust the overall sensitivity so that quiet sounds still move the mouth and louder ones don't max it out too quickly. Finally, the threshold logic takes the smoothed level and decides on clear motor actions. Open when the level rises above a set point, keep nudging while the sound continues, and close once it falls back down. A failsafe timer is also included to make sure that the mouth always returns to a closed state, even if the audio stream gets stuck. Throughout the entire process, the audio stream itself continues unaffected into the Max 98357 amplifier, so that the fish keeps playing sound in real time while the tap provides a synchronized control signal. This was one of my first WakeWord tests with Billy. Billy did respond, but the speaker was full of static. Then there were times when I'd call his name and nothing, no response at all. And sometimes he'd half awake, like here, where the tail motor triggers, but then he just stops listening. Now, these kinds of issues are a big part of working with DIY electronics. It can be frustrating, but every failure teaches you how to adjust, and eventually we get to a working build. Hey Billy, what time is it?
Blimey, mate, it's 12:49 p.m.
Hey Billy, turn on the office lights.
Turned on the light.
Hey Billy, turn them off.
lights are switched off.
Hey Billy, tell me a joke.
All right, here's one for ya. Why did the fish blush? 'Cause it saw the ocean's bottom. I know, it's a bit fishy, isn't it? What do you reckon?